We've all been there, haven't we? You're in the middle of a tense match. The killer's hot on your trail, and then, off in the distance, you see a teammate caught and hanging from a hook. What do? You want to help, but should you? And therein lies the million blood point question. How altruistic should you be? Recently, in my solo queue matches, I've noticed a worrying trend. Games lost, not due to the killer's prowess, but rather because of imbalanced altruism. On one end, we've got survivors so focused on self-preservation that they'll let their teammates get hooked without so much as batting an eye. On the other, we've got the overly selfless heroes, the ones who will always run to unhook you no matter the risk, often leading to their own untimely demise. Both these extremes can spell disaster for a survivor team. So, what's the solution? As is often the case in life, balance is key. Knowing when to be altruistic and when to prioritize your survival can make all the difference in a game. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a recent match of mine that is a perfect showcase of both extremes, the selfish survivors and the overly selfless ones. We'll dive into how these two extremes ultimately led to our downfall as a team of survivors, but don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. We'll also break down the match to identify key moments where different actions could have swung the game in our favor. Hopefully, you'll be able to glean some insights from this analysis that you can take into your own games and improve your strategy. But remember, when you're navigating the unpredictable world of solo queue, sometimes things are simply beyond your grasp. Despite the best strategies, the unexpected can and will happen. So buckle up, sit tight, let's decode this match together. All right, we are on Dead Dog Saloon. It's looking good for us. I love this map. This map is absolutely fantastic. So I'm just gonna go up to these gallows here. Oh, wow! So, as you guys can see, this match is not off to a very good start. It's very early in the game. I just got injured. I ran to a pallet, and for some unknown reason, I run up to the pallet and stand there and wait for the killer to drop it, instead of greeting it like I tell you guys to do all of the time. But luckily, Zarina's here with a flashlight, and the killer faced her. So I'm able to get away. An early down turns into another opportunity to take the killer on a loop and extend this match's, the hope that we have of escaping in this match. Unfortunately, I run into a box and lose all the distance that I gained. Zarina's close, no, that's Nancy. She's close by. For some reason, she gets in front of the killer and takes a hit. That is the kind of altruism that ruins a match. That's the kind of altruism that ruins a match. If someone is down 3 feet away from a hook, if you're not going to sabotage the hook, just get away. If you're not going to get a flashlight save, you should probably just get away. Unless you're running Medal of Man, you need to just get away. Because look, now, what was just one hook and one down turns into 2 people out of commission for the match, putting the other 2 teammates in the game into a very bad position. They aren't able to continue working on gens. They're both having to respond to a situation that is out of their hands to get their teammates back into commission for the rest of the match. So Zarina's healing me, which is good. Nancy's on her first hook. Watch this. Watch this. Hinatu is so very quick to get the unhook on Nancy. Doesn't wait for the Ghostface to leave the area, and I mean, it turned out okay. But I ran right past Ghostface. I don't know if you guys saw him, but he's right there. I'm already quickly into another chase soon after my very first hook in the match. Luckily, the Ghostface did break this door down and made this whole loop a lot stronger for the survivors in this game. He's up above on the second story. He just knifed the air to, I guess, get distance on that fall. Now watch this. This is an example of good altruism. Nancy's coming in. I'm not down yet, and she takes a hit. that's able to extend my chase a lot longer than it was originally going to be. That's the kind of protection hits that are good for us. And for some reason, again, I waited at a pallet. But luckily, I have quick and quiet, iron will, lightweight. I'm able to run a little bit of ways to manipulate my scratch marks, and the killer doesn't know exactly where I ended up. He can't hear my groans because of iron will. My track marks, my scratch marks are harder to track because of lightweight, so we're looking good. We avoid the killer in this interaction. So a really important thing to pay attention to whenever you're in solo queue, especially, is the new Survivor HUD, the in-game UI, whatever you want to call it. On the bottom left, we can see the claw marks wiggling around Zarina's name right now. Now they're wiggling around Nancy's name. That means that they are in an active chase with a killer. We also have the information from the generator on top of Saloon that is wiretapped. We can see the killer's aura, which is super good for us. We know that we're safe and able to commit to this gen. Nancy, who's already been hooked once, is in chase, while the other two survivors are just, playing their life, being smart, being stealthy. Nancy is very confident player in this match. Wants to take the Ghostface on a bunch of loops. The Ghostface obviously passes Zarina here on the way to the hook. So he's able to make a mental note that she's working on that generator still as Nancy is getting put on the hook. Hinatu unhooks Nancy again pretty quickly, is going for the heal here, and can see Zarina is in another chase, leading Ghostface back to them on that hook. And now they are both in a chase instead of Hinatu being able to finish the heal on Nancy. That is putting us as a squad of survivors in a very bad position. Zarina is deciding to commit to this generator. Hinatu leaves the chase while Nancy is getting chased on Death Hook and commits to the generator with Zarina. This puts Nancy down for death at this very moment. Zarina is marked and also going to put down, as Hinatu was trying to commit to that gen and still hasn't necessarily completed it. Ghostface decides to pick Nancy up and put her and finish her for the rest of the game onto Death Hook. Hinatu's deciding to commit to the gen instead of revive Zarina, which is good because he finishes the gen, taps Zarina, and they're both up. And now Hinatu enters a chase, and this next moment is very pivotal for this whole match. Because we are in solo queue, this has not a whole lot to do with altruism or not being altruistic, but it's just the unfortunate circumstance that Hinatu led the killer closer to the gen that was almost complete. So the killer decides to stop chasing Hinatu and come toward me, kick the gen, and start defending the gen. Zarina runs up, noticing the gen, doesn't realize necessarily that Ghostface is right there, gets downed immediately. And now Hinatu was doing the same thing on the other side, and now he's getting chased. And guess what? He gets downed very quickly. I decide I have resilience. Maybe I can get a quick revive here of Zarina, get her off the ground, leave the area. But I think that Ghostface watched the direction I went into and made a mental note of where to check for me after he downed Zarina. I'm not sure. He goes back toward Hinatu. Nope. He made the mental note. And he comes and gets me. So we are all down. All hope is lost, right? Oh. Nope. Hinatu had Unbreakable. And that can change the whole match into our favor. He's able to get Zarina up. They're both up. Zarina decides to tap the gen for some reason. She could have made a lot of distance. Her and Hinatu could have gotten far away and healed and then came to unhook me. They definitely had plenty of time to do that. She goes to tap the gen and remain in the area of the hooked survivor while all three of us are injured. That's never a good idea. If everyone on the team is injured, the last gen is in the same area as the hooked survivor, the killer has no incentive to leave the area. The killer is not going to leave. So you deciding to hang out in the area, not a good decision. You gotta take the loss for the gen. Hinatu's already back on the gen, while Zarina is getting carried. There's no stepping away and regaining here, which is what we need to do as a team. We need to step away, heal each other, get back on our solid feet, get back on our feet on solid ground, and make a comeback. But that's not the choices that these people were making. unfortunately, it's not necessarily the wrong choices, but the fact that we aren't able to communicate and make these decisions together, obviously a very rough thing. I decide, okay, we got one survivor down. It's going to be his first hook. Maybe I have time to commit and get a lot of progress on a Jhin in a different area. But I would say them sticking around in that area is maybe a sense of overly selfless. Too much altruism, because they wanted to stay in the area to be able to get the unhook instead of stepping back for a second to take a breath, regain, heal, and then go back to get the save. And that's often what leads to a whole survivors team just getting killed. I know that I play killer a lot, and playing killer a lot, you get that perspective, and you see games end, games that you would have lost end just because survivors are being too selfless. I wanted to make a play here. I did not expect the Ghostface to come to this side of the shack. I expect him to go back to that generator that he kept protecting and go back to Hinatu near that hook. So it was just unfortunate ending right there. But I hope you guys took something from this video. Make sure to check this next one out. Tired Marine